You know, a year ago, I knew nothing about politics. In fact, I didn't know who the vice presidents were for forever. I learned not so long ago that Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama, and I don't know if my other video said anything about that or not, and the relationship of that with George Bush's Operation Enduring Freedom, and the fact that Joe Biden did not want us to go into Afghanistan, and he did not want us to kill Osama bin Laden. I'll have to check my other video for that because it's very relevant. But the reason um I know about political stuff now is because of the fact that I'm a victim of a racketeering group that includes some very, very powerful feds and politicians in Washington, and off and big businessmen. For instance, Bill Gates and his new company Nuance that he bought for $19.6 billion, in spite of the fact that they are conspirators with Darpa and are guilty of human trafficking and have perpetuated human torture and non-consensual data mining. And you'll see that in a lot of the clinical studies. You won't see them, but some you can't get speech development software and AI from lab animals. You have to have human subjects for that. And even DARPA actually messed up on that on one of their, I think it was one of their brain project pages that they've been involved in since the 1970s, or their RAM project, a lot of different things like that. But they said that the ELSI had approved the ethical considerations of their research, when in fact ELSI, I guess it's LC, is they are responsible for ethical considerations in genetic engineering and research. So, um, with all due respect, it was bullshit. But the reason that I'm going to make this short video is I have a 26-page report that encompasses many of the things that I have learned about the Captain Obvious gang and the members in Washington and the members locally. That unfortunately, many of them are also my family, including attorneys Sherwood Fender, Addison Fender, Sherwood's wife Martha Fender, and my aunt Phoebe Ferguson. It's certainly not an easy thing to have to accept that your own family, while they appear so outstanding and upstanding and the pillars of society, are actually trailer trash and criminals. But let me get on with the reason I'm going to write. I'm making this rather short video. And it has to do with coronavirus, and it has to do with the fact that recently, well, I guess for the past almost 2 years now, we have been um, very concerned with coronavirus. And you know what it's like when you have a lot of things on your plate. I remember that fleecing of America used to come on one of the news shows. We're still being fleeced. There's no doubt about that. And so we've all been caught up with the coronavirus thing. And, if we had knew somebody that maybe got coronavirus or died from coronavirus, and that gave us the politicians in Washington an opportunity to slip this Afghanistan stuff by us without us realizing what was going on. And it's wrong. And, certainly eventually we're going to have to kind of all sort it all out. But I'm going to tell you some things that I know about coronavirus, and I'm just going to read this. Um, it says, I'm going to provide a short list of some of those obvious red flags that are not only of the people that are not only involved, but also perpetuating this atrocity. And it has to do with the coronavirus. It has to do with DARPA. It has to do with, um, how they've kind of muddied the water with so many different issues. They include Donald Trump, BlackRock Investments, Vanguard Wellington, DARPA, Attorney General Merrick Garland, Nuance Communications, all the way from CEO Mark Benjamin to my ex-husband, a Nuance employee. So that means because of Bill Gates having bought Nuance for $19.6 billion in April of this year, he's involved as well. The Mayo Clinic, and for some reason, many entities in Massachusetts, including Mass General. Also, anyone can easily recognize connections between COVID-19 and pharmaceutical companies that previously had neurological problems as their focus. There are two COVID-19 super spreader events that are certainly cause for great concern. The first is all the executions that Donald Trump ordered during his lame duck presidency. On November 19th, 2020, there were 3 COVID-19 cases in Terre Haute Prison in Indiana. But on 12/29/20, that'd be 40 days later, there were 406 cases. These are just the cases inside the prison. How many people attending these executions inadvertently helped Trump spread COVID-19? Did anyone besides me trace Trump, his money in BlackRock investments, or wonder why he decided to kill more people on federal death row than have been executed in the past 100 years? Incidentally, BlackRock investments during 2019 and 2020 made bipartisan political contributions of $335,500. 57.5% Democrats and 42.47% Republicans. Again, this is only what I was able to Google in a very short time. Also, the second almost obvious super spreader event happened at a Biogen conference in Massachusetts. I haven't quite figured out what's up with Massachusetts yet, but Nuance's headquarters is there, plus other things that concern me greatly. Biogen, a company previously engaged in 80% of multiple sclerosis product development, had a huge super spreader event. Subsequently, they encouraged all of their employees to donate blood to help develop COVID-19 vaccine. Oh, sure, Big Pharma Biogen, give back and help all the people your super spreader event killed equals CYA at its finest. CYA, of course, being cover your ass. And 2 days ago, I did find other very suspicious acts by Biogen. However, because I wrote this while I was in Washington the first time, a couple months ago. However, because I've been in Washington almost 2 weeks, and I'm almost nearing the point where I'm going to have to continue my work from a homeless shelter, and I did not come here to cause a major upheaval and radically change politics or government, surely there must be someone more adept at finding all these Captain Obvious connections than me. And now it is Biogen who recently gained FDA approval for an Alzheimer's drug that many authorities are citing about as effective as sugar water, a treatment for the least fortunate of the elderly on fixed Social Security incomes at the tune of $55,000 per year. Of course, Medicare would help share the orange and pay for some of the sugar water, yet another government-funded sweet deal for Biogen. But considering these COVID-19 super spreaders probably killed plenty of elderly people with their event, how much do they really care about old people anyway? And with the caps of Medicare benefits, would only the rich elderly people with Alzheimer's disease be able to share the orange? Also, why did Trump order a bypass on the CDC on COVID-19 and insist that all the data go to him instead? Really? Is Donald Trump truly more qualified to address all of the COVID-19 concerns than the Center for Disease Control? Wow, what a guy. Trump creates a super spreader event by killing more federal death row inmates than in the past 100 years and kills, only Trump knows, how many others by these suspicious lame duck events. Then he insists the CDC take a back seat and allow the Washington to handle all the CDC data. How is Trump's BlackRock portfolio and worth looking these days since COVID-19 started? And Darpa has been on the forefront of handing out a lot of our tax dollars in the battle against COVID-19. But while all lives are precious, just ask the survivors and grieving families of the 2 super spreader events I mentioned. Only 26 active military personnel have died from COVID-19. 26. Yet DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, is suddenly handing out all this money to fund for COVID-19 research. That doesn't make sense. DARPA is under the Department of Defense. Like I said, only 26 active military personnel have died from COVID-19. Of course, much of the DARPA grant money put even more dollars into the deep pockets of big pharma and institutions that are primarily focused on neurotechnology. Hence the connection between DARPA's neurotechnology brain projects that started in the 1970s, and now it's gone into COVID-19. And there is also the connection between many of the COVID-19 vaccine companies, including Nuance, and big neurotechnology pharmaceutical money. Now, Nuance does not do pharmaceuticals, but they have written the programs and the technology for vaccine administration technology. Why can't anyone else recognize how much this really stinks? I was violated in ways almost anyone could not possibly fathom by the Darpa neurotechnology funded Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. Nuance, home based in Massachusetts, was funded by DARPA. There seems to be massive corruption in Massachusetts for some reason I haven't figured out yet. That's pretty much the end about the COVID-19 vaccine thing. But there are so many red flags that are connecting the COVID-19 um, vaccine and the coronavirus pandemic, and it looks to be intentional. It looks to be intentional. And, I did not mention Joe Biden or Kamala Harris in that particular passage, but Joe Biden has 4 BlackRock people in his cabinet. Additionally, while this doesn't really have anything to do, I don't think, with the, well, I guess it does, because Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, who was in the cabinet, was previously worked for, I guess, Raytheon Technologies. Now, he's a general from the Pentagon that started back with the Pentagon, back with DARPA, went to Raytheon Technologies. DARPA funded a lot of their projects, and now he's back in it as the Secretary of Defense in Biden's cabinet. It seems like if we put all these things together, we're going coronavirus, BlackRock, the Pentagon, DARPA, and this is what I'm calling this capitalist monster. And I believe these super spreader events happened to increase the paranoia, so that all this funding money that people will be going, oh my God, we're going to die of coronavirus, all these things. Well, right, but we're looking the other way, and at the same time, here comes starts with Trump. Here comes Trump kissing the ass of the Taliban in Afghanistan, the same Taliban that are conspirators of Osama bin Laden, the Bin Ladens, and the Al Qaeda group that killed 2,996 Americans on 9/11, and also have killed 3,000 American troops in Afghanistan since George Bush said, not on my watch, and started Enduring Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom. I think in my other video, I have to look again and see, but I've already identified the fact that I don't think Osama bin Laden is dead. And that's the reason that I said that is because, well, for many reasons. First of all, a 4-star general at the Pentagon that I know well has told me that it made no sense to send Navy SEALs in there 1,000 miles to Abbottabad, Pakistan to kill Osama bin Laden in a compound when we've got Air Force. Well, it made more sense in SEALs, Navy SEALs, Navy being sailors, and Abbottabad, Pakistan being landlocked 996 miles from the Arabian Ocean. I'm kind of getting off the subject here, but there's just several issues that keep coming back up one after the other, one after the other. And of course, when Donald Trump ordered the 13 executions at Terre Haute, Indiana, well, this certainly, when you kill 13 inmates in just a very short time, he did this as a lame duck. Certainly, if his intention was to, let's go ahead and show a stronger sense of justice in this country, he would have done it throughout his presidency. He wouldn't have waited until a lame duck when he supposedly didn't really have any power or agenda then and do it. And this is the reason. Okay, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, well, of course, they ran against each other. So, they kind of have to look like opponents. But, Donald Trump starts kissing the ass of the Taliban. And here comes Joe Biden. And when Donald Trump did the executions, wow, 13 of them, all of the Americans, even though we're all caught up in the coronavirus thing, we went, 13 people killed? What if they were innocent? What if someone were innocent or whatever? And so it really kind of put that on the forefront. And then here comes Joe Biden, who was in the 1990s, came up with a plethora of other reasons for capital punishment in the United States. In fact, I believe it was Biden's law it's 1994, I believe, that made many other reasons for capital punishment for federal executions. And now, as a president, 20 years later, he's suddenly gotten all warm and cushy on this. So we've got uh, Trump going out. They're smart. These feds and these politicians, they didn't get where they are by being a bunch of dumbasses. What they've done is, okay, they got two issues here. They're always trying to look for, what's the other multifaceted kind of bullshit to pull in the American public. So, we've got the super spreader event. We've got all these 13 people killed, and here comes Joe Biden. Well, we're all going to agree with him. Wow, Trump just killed 13 people, and here comes Joe Biden with a softer, cushier, warmer sort of agenda than he had back when he was senator. And I'll tell you why. Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden are guilty of what they've done in Afghanistan. Now, of course, Biden's looking at the death penalty for treason. Jesus has been the reason for the treason for over 200 years. He's got his buddy Trump going out. And, he's looking at a treason rap. Now, let's go ahead and wrap up Barack Obama. If those Navy SEALs truly did not kill Osama bin Laden, then we've got 3 presidents in a row on death row. If I'm right. Now, certainly somebody proved me wrong. I mean, God knows this is enough to really make us, really, ew, yuck. But the bin Ladens they're Saudi Arabians. The bin Ladens have zillions of dollars. They have more money than they know what to do with. So what's the big deal buying Barack Obama off, especially when Joe Biden was under him? Joe Biden never wanted us to go after Osama bin Laden, but because of George Bush's enduring freedom, they had to do something to make us stop looking for Osama bin Laden. I mean, hell, he killed 2,996 innocent Americans between there and the Pentagon, between the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. That's a lot of people, and we had to do something to avenge that death. But I believe that they did not kill Osama bin Laden, because here's the big thing, and this is the biggest red flag at all. Barack Obama got on television and said, "We have found him. We killed him. We took him back to the Arabian Ocean and buried him at sea to observe the Islamic tradition." Well, first of all, what in the hell do we care about an Islamic tradition or his religious, Osama bin Laden's religious things when he killed 2,996 innocent Americans? Secondly, Islam buries their dead as deep in the dirt as possible. They don't believe in burials at sea. And I believe, if Barack Obama had left that out, instead of saying, yeah, we shot him, then we dragged his dead ass back, back 996 miles or 1,000 miles to the Arabian Sea to bury him at sea. Well, what did that do? That left no body. That's what that did. Left no body. Now, with me saying these things, I hope, Lord, that I don't become a body, but somebody has to say it. Somebody has to say it. And because of the fact that I started researching all this data and looking at stuff because of Darpa, because I've been a victim of human trafficking and Darpa's data mining and a lot of, perverse things that perhaps I'll talk about sometime, perhaps I don't perhaps I won't ever have to talk about them. I hope not. But and I'm not the only victim of DARPA. But you start looking at little DARPA, and then it goes straight from there to the Pentagon, and straight right into the Oval Office. So even though my primary initial endeavor was to bust DARPA, now I'm really, I've got some things here that really don't make any sense. And it all has to do with the Captain Obvious gang, and how if we just get enough of, if we get too much on our plate, we're not going to be able to focus on one exact thing that much to really see it. And unfortunately, I'm focusing on too many of these issues, but I hope that you will take this into consideration. And people need, there are other people that are researchers with much more information and data and connections than I have. Please reach out to me and help me sort some of these things out. If I'm completely wrong, good. Let me know it. And as always, please subscribe to my channel. I think I have 2 subscribers, and I appreciate those 2 guys. I happen to know who I think. Well, I believe I know who I am. Who? No, 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 no. I didn't say that. I didn't subscribe. I didn't subscribe, but I have a feeling I know who did. So, y'all have a nice night. And if any of this makes any sense, you know, um, I know you're probably hating it as much as I do, because I believe that they spread coronavirus to make money. I believe they've killed 700,000 people for vaccine profits. Maybe not all of them, but I happen to believe that people are pocketing, they are making bank and dead presidents on this. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe.